You are the only animal on earth that cries. Not the only animal that feels grief. The only animal that leaks water from its eyes when it's overwhelmed. It's 60,000 years ago, inside a limestone cave in what will one day be northern Iraq. A body is being lowered into the ground. The hands that place it there are thick, powerful. The face above them is not a face you would call human. This is a Neanderthal. And around the body, someone has placed flowers. Yarrow, cornflower, ephedra. In 1951, an archaeologist named Ralph Selecki found pollen clusters pressed into the soil. Someone chose those flowers. This is Shanidar Cave. What was buried here has no survival value, no evolutionary logic, unless you account for one thing: grief. You've done it. At a funeral, in a hospital hallway, alone in a car, your phone face down on the seat. Why do humans cry? This is one of the most misunderstood questions in human history. Most people picture an emotion, a feeling spilling over. The biology says otherwise. In the 1980s, a biochemist named William Fry did something nobody had thought to do. He collected tears. Tears from people crying from emotion, and tears from people crying from raw onion vapors. He compared them. Emotional tears contain stress hormones: cortisol, prolactin, ACTH. The onion tears were just salt water. Your body was not producing tears to express sadness. It was producing them to flush it out, a biological release valve. Of the roughly 8.7 million species on Earth, only one does this. Only one. The flowers at Shanidar were placed by Neanderthals 60,000 years ago. At Kafsa Cave, a child was buried with deer antlers 92,000 years ago. Grief did not begin with us. It may have existed before language, before art. Elephants grieve. They return to the bones of their dead. They stand in silence for days. They touch the body with their trunks. And they don't cry. Not one tear. Tears are not a grief response. They are a human grief response. A mutation, a biological accident that turned out useful enough to survive. A human feels the loss, and the body opens a valve. And then a few hundred years ago, something shifted. For most of human history, tears were expected. Roman senators wept at funerals. Medieval knights cried in chronicles. Jesus wept. The Industrial Revolution packed humans into factories where tears were a disruption. The Victorian era taught children that crying was a failure of control. By the 20th century, men were told boys don't cry, and women that crying meant they were unstable. We built a world that runs on stress and then made it shameful to release it. Your ancestors figured this out 60,000 years ago. They placed flowers on the dead. They stood close enough to see each other's faces, and they let the water come. We didn't invent grief. Grief has existed for as long as creatures have loved each other. We invented being ashamed of it.